Are you a subject matter expert or work with subject matter experts in any form of communication and need to know how to distill the core message or the big idea into just the essentials with no fluff and communicate it to your ideal target audience? Stay tuned. In today's video, I am going to share a method for being able to take complex ideas and sequence them for maximum understanding. Because understanding equals brand loyalty. Hi, my name is Andrea Reindl. I am a brand strategist and the founder of Legacy Creative. For more than a decade, my team and I have worked in multiple projects at a time, helping subject matter experts, or SMEs as we like to call them, communicate their message, their big idea, and build lasting brands and curate thriving communities of customers. Being able to identify the key concepts in a presentation, a book, a digital program, a critical email, heck, even just an ordinary email, is a skill that every brand strategist should have. If it's your own idea or you're communicating the client's idea, either way, you need to know how to lean into what is it that is the big idea of the communication and how do you make it simple to understand. Imagine you have a giant puzzle with thousands of small pieces and a picture on a box, and your job as a team is to assemble it to make it easy to put together. It can look complicated and overwhelming at first, but if somebody or the team of people you're working with start taking all those pieces and grouping them together in smaller, similar sets, like edge pieces in one pile, the ones that look like a house in another pile, the ones that look like water in a pile, and the ones that look like grass in a separate area, pretty soon it becomes much easier to understand and put the puzzle together because you have similar concepts or similar pieces of the puzzle all put into smaller piles. Simplifying big concepts is kind of like breaking down a complex puzzle into smaller, manageable pieces so everyone can see how they fit together. However, if you are a subject matter expert, a scientist, or you work with subject matter experts, this is easier said than done. What I'm going to share with you right now is one simple way that we help our subject matter experts or our clients or our SMEs as we like to call them, make their big idea easier to understand and easier to communicate. First, what you want to do is dump or brain dump or empty the working memory by getting all the pieces out of everyone's mind and onto paper. So what we do is we take sticky notes or a similar app that's like sticky notes, and we just start listing out all the concepts of what does everybody need to understand in order to make this big idea understandable. What are all the little bitty concepts that people need to understand? There needs to be no order, no rhyme or reason. It's basically like taking the box of puzzle pieces and dumping them onto the table. Now that you have all the puzzle pieces dumped in no particular order, it's going to look something like this. A bunch of concepts, big and little, completely jumbled together, all in one place. Now, maybe it's on an app like Jamboard, which you're looking at right now, or maybe you do it on sticky notes in real life with pen and paper. Either way, you just want all the concepts in no particular order jumbled onto one board. Now, you're going to ask your subject matter expert, or if you're doing this alone, ask yourself, what am I really trying to communicate here? What's my big idea? What am I trying to get across to the audience? In the example I'm giving you right now, if I was running this session, it would be like, oh, hey, look at this. Natalie's getting married and we're having a bachelorette party. Then I move that concept to the top of the page and start to move the other concepts down. Our big idea is we're throwing a party and we need to let people know about it. Then I want to ask myself, what are the next 2 to 3 really important concepts that people need to know to understand that we're having a bachelorette party? Well, in this scenario, it comes down to only 2 things: the logistics of all the things they need to know for the logistics, and then also what experiences are we going to have while we're at the bachelorette party. Those are the 2 most important things people need to know, because if they know those 2 things and that we're having a bachelorette party because somebody's getting married, the rest of it gets easy to understand. So if you can get agreement on the big idea plus the 2 or 3, no more than 3, nested ideas underneath this, you start to see a pattern of how to craft your communication so that it makes sense. So once you have the 2 or 3 ideas underneath, you take all the other sticky notes and start to stick them where they belong. So in this example, I'm going to just rearrange them and show you how they fit together. Now you're looking at what happens when you organize the idea into just one big idea with 2 or 3 nested ideas underneath it. So for planning this party, it comes down to really just 2 things: the logistics and the experiences that we want to have. The logistics include all the things you're looking at right here. So making the guest list, inviting the guests, booking the flights, booking the hotel, arranging ground transportation, get matching outfits if that's applicable, book a table at a club, how much can they spend, when can we go? All of these are the logistics, not in any particular order. Of course, you can order them to make more sense, but basically these are the logistics that need to be handled. On the other half, you've got what are the experiences we want to have while we're on this bachelorette party, and it becomes down to really simple fun things like be able to day drink, make sure everyone has fun, swim in the ocean, eat great meals, plan a photo shoot, hike a mountain. Well, once you've got those 2 things figured out, planning, organizing, coordinating, and communicating the party gets way more simple. So this seems simple, right? I totally get it. Maybe it's even obvious to you. Well, like anything, you may encounter roadblocks when you try to implement this. And the most common roadblock, in my experience, that we encounter on a regular basis is that the subject matter experts wants to make everything, all the concepts, a need to know. They're like, oh my goodness, people need to know all this information, and if they don't know all this information, then it's absolutely not gonna hit. Well, that's not actually always true. Remember this phrase that I learned from a friend of mine, Rich Carr, the founder of Braincentric. What he asks people in this time is, what does your audience need to know? And what would be nice to know? If you can give your subject matter experts, or if you are the subject matter expert, if you can give yourself permission to answer this question, what does my audience need to know versus what would just be nice to know? Right away, what it starts to do is it gives yourself permission to say like, oh, hey, what if I cut a couple of these concepts? Because all they really need to know are these couple of key things. And if they need to know that, everything else is nice to know. Maybe you have a chance to put the nice to knows in, but ultimately, all that has to go in your big idea presentation to get people to have brand loyalty is what they need to know. Everything else is just a nice to know. If you can use that phrase, what do they need to know versus what is nice to know, you will be surprised how amazing it helps distill big ideas and complicated puzzles into making them ultimately super simple to put together. Remember that what you're going for is understanding. If you are a subject matter expert, what you hope more than anything is that your audience understands what it is that you are trying to communicate. If you work in marketing and communications, this method will help you get clarity with your clients. Once you have clarity about what it is that you're trying to communicate, everything else gets easier, and ultimately that means you get traction. If you're a subject matter expert, this method will help you communicate your big idea in a way that makes it easy for your audience to understand. Now you know how to think strategy, you know how to think communication strategy, and you know how to focus on the message that really matters the most to your ideal clients. Remember, strategy is understanding how to put the puzzle together. I hope you found this helpful. If you did and you want a weekly useful how-to video, please like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to hit the bell so that YouTube lets you know the next time a video goes live. If you want to stay in touch more than just on YouTube, please join our email list at the link below. We share brandable bites that are only available on our email list. I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, I'm Andrea. Make it a great day.